You just got to find the right fit for you. And Charlotte was the great fit. I mean, I remember I went on a visit there, really enjoyed the coaching staff and the people, and the campus was beautiful. And, they had a really good track record of developing players, and they still do, and get guys drafted and signed into professional baseball. And that was something I really wanted to do. So that was a big part of my decision. And I felt like they were going to give me the best opportunity to do that. And with that, I'm going to be at a really competitive, mid-major Division I program that does things the right way. And like, we still had a ton of great resources and everything that you would want in a Division I school.
Hello, everybody. I'm Holden. I've got Ryan Degges with me. Sorry, Alex is not going to be here for this episode, but we got a very good treat for you today. So, Ryan, we know you're a minor league pitcher right now for the Threshers in single A ball. So, what made you want to play baseball early on?
Well, I grew up playing all the different sports, baseball, basketball, football, and I just really enjoyed playing baseball with all my buddies and spending time in the summer and the spring, just going to the field, hitting with my dad and throwing and doing all that. And I just found a passion for it at a pretty young age.
So, I know in high school you were more of a hitter than a pitcher, really. You actually tied a couple records for the state of Tennessee. So, when did that switch come where you wanted to go from a hitter to a pitcher?
Well, it started to happen in college. Hitting gets really hard, so I struggled a little bit hitting, and I had a pretty strong arm and started pitching a little bit, and then it just kind of naturally happened.
So, had you like had any experience pitching like before you started, or was it just a completely new area for you?
It was pretty new for the most part. I mean, I pitched as a child, like, in middle school and early on ages like that, but I didn't really throw it on high school. So that was kind of a new transition for sure once I got into college. I mean, I threw a few innings when I was a senior, but nothing crazy. I didn't work on it. And then yeah, so college, it was a whole new transition, something to learn, but it came pretty natural, but yeah, it was definitely new.
Obviously, you had a few JUCO years, obviously. And then when you went to Charlotte, would you have had that any other way, like as a preference standpoint? Like, I know Tennessee was also looking at you too, and you were looking at a lot of other options, but you really just decided to go with Charlotte. Like, was there a certain reason that caused you to do that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, when you're in junior college, I was getting a lot of different opportunities and stuff, and then you just got to find the right fit for you. And Charlotte was the great fit. I mean, I remember I went on a visit there, really enjoyed the coaching staff and the people, and the campus was beautiful. And, they had a really good track record of developing players, and they still do, and get guys drafted and signed into professional baseball. And that was something I really wanted to do. So that was a big part of my decision. And I felt like they were going to give me the best opportunity to do that. And with that, I'm going to be at a really competitive, mid-major Division I program that does things the right way. And like, we still had a ton of great resources and everything that you would want in a Division I school.
Yeah, okay. I feel you. And you know, moving on a little later in your career after college, getting drafted to the Phillies. So, was there like a little bit of tension there? Did you like I know most guys would do anything to be able to pick their professional team. So, obviously pretty strong pitching for the Phillies, in the professional ranks. So, you know, coming in, especially even a later pick, like what do you feel like going into a Phillies organization? Not really a team you know too much about. Down here in Tennessee, that's a little farther up north than most of us are used to getting to. So, like,
Yeah.
I know it was probably a new fit for you. So, were there like mixed emotions when they drafted you, or were you just like totally satisfied with being drafted?
Yeah, I don't think there was like a ton of mixed emotions. I wasn't really a fan of any particular MLB team, and obviously with how baseball works and moving up the ranks and all that, I think it's at the end of the day, like if you play how you're supposed to play and play like good baseball, like you're gonna find your way to wherever you need to be. I don't think it necessarily mean like people doing well above you like shouldn't affect how, you play. So like obviously, maybe some you could say other people in different orgs might have, better opportunities because they might not be as good, so they get to move up the ladder. But I mean, that's you can say whatever you want about that. But I mean, I think I was very excited to get drafted by them. Like, it's an organization that wins in the major leagues, so like, they're doing things right. And so I was just really glad to get drafted by them, and so far it's been a great experience.
Yeah, and just talk about your stats a little bit. You've played 22 games. You've got a 3-2 record, little under 4 ERA, and you've got 72 strikeouts and 81 innings pitched. That's a pretty impressive stat. So, I just want to ask you a little bit of the scenario here. You've got the bases loaded, you're ahead by 1. It's a full count. You're getting subbed in and you take a few warm-up pitches. What is the first pitch you're gonna go to against this hitter?
I'm throwing a fastball, man. Like, gotta get ahead strike one. Like, throw your pitch you're confident in. You're up one. Like, you know, you've got, you know, a good chance of getting the guy out. I mean, hitters have to hit the ball. It's one of the most challenging things to do in all sports, and the averages are in your favor for the most part. So I'm just delivering strike one, throwing a fastball. If he hits it, he hits it. If he doesn't, on to the next pitch.
Yeah. So you say you're more of like an attacking pitcher, like you want to attack the hitter rather than just pitch around them.
Yeah, definitely. I think all pitchers should be that way of, some sort. Like we don't want to, we want to throw our best stuff at guys and, you know,
It's their job to hit it.
like get beat in the zone. That's one thing for me. Like I'd love to have my walk numbers go down and like, if I give up more hits, it is what it is, but like have guys beat you, not like don't beat yourself by just throwing around and, you know, being out of the zone.
Yeah. And you mentioned about walks too and like controlling, and would you say you're more of a like control pitcher or a speed?
Uh, I mean,
Or a
I would
little
just
bit of
say,
both.
yeah, I'd like to be both. I'd like to throw hard and be in the zone, but I mean, I guess you'd say more
I
speed.
mean, you're hitting like on most of your pitches like fastballs, you're hitting middle to, upper 90s.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, but
Which
like,
which is pretty good. That's pretty good heat. Obviously, it's a lot different, ball game than it was 10, 20 years ago. Now you've got like almost every team has one guy that can throw, triple digits.
oh yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
I think the average fastball in the majors is like 94 miles an hour now. So I mean, you could say it's 94, 95 is heat, which like I think it's still pretty good, but it's about average at this point. So hitters can hit fastballs, and especially velocity isn't it helps, but it doesn't win everything. So you gotta have good off speed and have those in the back of your arsenal.
Yeah, that was just what I was about to ask. How many pitches would you say you have in your repertoire, and what are those pitches?
Right now, just three. I go with a fastball. I throw a slider and a changeup, and I've messed around with some other pitches in my time and throwing different things. But right now,
I have a question. The
yeah,
fastball, that's probably the most obvious
yeah.
choice for most pitchers. But why this? Obviously, changeup's very popular too.
Mhm.
So why go with the slider?
You could argue like why you could throw different off speed, curveballs, sliders, slurs, whatever, sweepers, what they all have. But um for me that was just a pitch I was comfortable with and felt like I could throw in the zone and make it a good pitch. So it's kind of what I threw coming into college. It's shortened up a little bit. In college it was a lot bigger, and I noticed I was out of the zone with it more often, but maybe it had more movement you could say, but kind of knocked off some of that side to side movement and get a little more up and down movement. And it plays well with my stuff for the most part, and just trying to perfect it as much as I can.
Yeah. Going into your minor league career a little bit, what would you say is like kind of your welcome to like the big leagues moment? What was like that moment where you're like, oh shoot, it's real now?
Yeah, I mean, I've had plenty of them at this point. Um, I would just say like every time you're out there throwing and pitching in games, obviously you have your moments where your stuff's really good and guys are swinging and missing and you feel like everything's going right, but every single outing there's an at bat or there's a hitter that comes up to the dish and you can just tell like something about them's different, how they're, taking your pitches, what kind of swings they're taking. And I don't know if there's like a particular moment where it was like welcome, but I think it's like every time I go out there, like understanding that all these guys are very talented. That's why they're there. And like everybody's got to be taken serious. There's no like, really weak parts of a
There's
lineup.
not really any easy outs.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. So, you talked a little bit about, earning, really everything in this. So, obviously the minor league is a really confusing part of baseball. Besides the G League in the NBA, it's really the only sport where you have to, like spend multiple years in a farm system before getting up to, the show.
Yeah.
And, it's really confusing because some people will stay there for like 9 years. And, some people will be there for like 3 years, 4 years. And, like, for example, Paul Skeens, like, he got out of there in like 2 years.
Yeah, less.
I mean, obviously, he's Paul Skeens, but,
Yeah.
yeah, but, like, just, with how much it varies, would you say that's more of a skill thing, or I've heard a lot of people say baseball is becoming more of a business nowadays. Would you say it's really an executive decision, or it's all based on skill?
I mean, both really. Like, depending on I mean, I don't really know that much about it. I mean, it's never, obviously, they're not asking me for decisions, but, it's probably based off whatever the big league needs and if they feel like the guy's ready. So, I mean, Paul Skeens is a guy like super polished coming out of college. And not only that he's really polished and he has elite stuff, and it was like, stuff's gonna play now in the big leagues, and the Pirates were ready to make the move. And I think it's the same for every other organization. If you have a special player like that, I mean, no reason to keep him around down in the lower levels if their stuff's going to work in the bigs now. So I think a big thing of the minor leagues is development, and that's a lot of what the draft is drafting guys that you're going to develop. And with baseball, it's just such a grind. Most guys aren't ready to go straight there out of college. I
So
mean,
you're really looking for more of like a potential,
yeah, I
like
mean,
draft
for
more
sure.
than skill. Obviously, first 10 picks, you're all about the skill. But,
Yeah, for sure. I
like,
mean,
you
everybody's
went from,
about skill to an
yeah,
extent. It's just like
a certain
some
extent
guys
of
are more
skill. Yeah.
developed. Yeah, some guys
Yeah.
are more developed.
Yeah. So, yeah, looking at skill, obviously very early on in the draft, but like you mentioned a lot about looking out for potential.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask you a little bit about potential players. So I want to ask, are you a pitcher that like when you have a big moment or like something, do you remember every detail?
Hmm. I wouldn't say so, no. Like I'm more of just I try to just be in the moment for the most part, but I don't do a great job of like re-racking my brain and like remembering every single pitch I threw like to each hitter. I mean, I remember like if anything sticks out, I'll remember it, or usually like some sort of result, or maybe like what was going through my head at least, like
Yeah.
if I was
So
confident.
building off that, yeah, like have you ever had a moment where you just like wanted to quit baseball on the spot? Like where you were just obviously it's a game of failure. Like if you go up to bat 10 times, you hit 3 out of 10, you're like qualified to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
It's a game of failure.
Yeah.
Like, obviously 400 is a ridiculous, like hitting mark now that almost nobody can touch with today's pitching.
Yeah.
Hitting's gotten, a lot harder than it was, in the 90s when you got like people, just banging homers over the wall every day. And, so obviously, going off on what I said, hold on, I just lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. Like a moment where
Yeah.
I thought it was just gonna.
Where's the moment where you felt like most stressed out and you just wanted to walk away and like just nobody talk to you, nobody tell you anything, you just wanted to be alone?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of moments when things don't go your way, and you just want to like you're pretty stressed out and want to just be on your own and sit in your thoughts. I guess I would say some of the like harder times were early on in college, like my freshman year especially, just because in junior college all your goal is to you obviously like love your teammates and want to win in the moment, but in the back of your mind like everybody's like wanting to go to the next school or wanting to go to the next opportunity, and
It's not
I
really
struggle.
about a collective group as more of like individual people.
I mean, no, it's still about I know what you're saying. Like it's definitely like there's recruiting and all that, but like you're still it's about the team and winning and all that, which makes it fun because it's still baseball. Like can't win with just one great player. And like there was some times that year I guess I was struggling and yeah, it's just like those are tough times and you just got to get back on the saddle and work on through it. That's kind of how baseball is. There's a grind about it and a process and I believe if you just stick to that process and grind, like you're gonna see things work in your favor.
Yeah. So, when you got drafted, were you like feeling, tentative at all? Because I remember, I came to watch one of the games at Charlotte, and I was watching you in the bullpen, and you said something to me. I'll never forget it. It was, I was like, "Do you think you're gonna make it to the big leagues?" And you said that's the goal. So, like, was there ever like a doubt in your mind, like when you chose to play college baseball? Were you automatically to this is my life now, all or nothing? Or were you still like tentative and hesitant? Like what I'm saying is, did you have a backup plan?
Uh, I mean, I guess I didn't like necessarily like have a backup plan. I mean, I just figured I was gonna, do my best and get to play baseball in college and you're pursuing a degree and I was hoping to get drafted or sign or just keep playing professional and I got the opportunity, so like it's easy to say I, didn't have a plan or whatever, but like I think you're able to tell in college for the most part, like if you're gonna have the opportunity to play professional or at least get a chance. And if I ever understood that wasn't gonna be an option, I just think I would have finished out college and gotten my degree, and who knows what I'd be doing now. But I was able to figure out decently quick into my college career that I had a good chance to play professional, and so that's what I set my sights on for sure. And I just tried to really focus in on that.
Yeah. So going back, less of, just career moments and back to the pitching basics. Did you ever have, like a mentor or someone, in your life that like shaped you into the player you are today?
That's the thing. Like, I didn't grow up pitching much. I didn't pitch in high school, and I've never like had a specific pitching coach for the most part. But I've had a lot of like great mentors in my life that have given me, a lot of great advice and different different outlooks and perspectives on, where I'm at in my career and you know, plenty of great coaches and those people have been wonderful for me and yeah, I can't thank them enough. But not anyone
Yeah.
specific to pitching, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. So, it's a lot of mental parts of baseball, like I said earlier. So, where along the road did you like learn to cope with that? And, like you have to have a very strong mindset for, playing baseball, especially at a high level. So, where did you, like where did that mindset did it just develop over time? Or did one day you just get sick of, like laying down everything and just getting nothing out of it and you just flip that switch?
Yeah, I think like it's definitely development. Like just like a movie, like character development, like in life, like you're gonna develop and change as you grow. And I think at a young age, like my parents set a good standard for me. And as you move into high school, you get a high school coach and different coaches they set, and I was lucky to have good people around me and like set that standard of, what baseballs should be played like, how you should act and obviously it's very tough mentally and I think you learn to I don't cope is I don't want to say like you learn to cope with failure and stuff because like you don't want to accept failure by any stretch, but then at the same time like just understanding that you are gonna fail and like what are you gonna do about that to get better. And I think goes back I'm really big on like process like your process and routines. So like good things to do is like when you're struggling like go back to like everything routine that you do that makes
There's a
you
mechanism.
yeah like there's that's the stuff that keeps you going like getting back in the ring like going for another round like you're gonna get knocked down got to get back up.
Yeah. I don't really have, too many more questions for you.
15.
Do you want to just wrap this up?
Yeah, if you don't have any more questions, man, like I'm
Yeah.
here for you, like
Yeah.
this is good, man.
Yeah. I think, yeah, thank you, Ryan. Thank you for that. And I think that's going to be the episode. And you like what you're hearing, you can follow us on Instagram at Inside the Huddle Podcast. And I'm Oak Holden, and this is Ryan Degges with me.